Hello again. We've been discussing the fabulous Australian designed and manufactured organic spring veggie patch. Now I'm going to show you how to set it up. So how do you prepare the garden? It's easy. Buy a few bags of quality garden mix from your local nursery, sufficient to fill the garden bed. And while you're there, buy a box of worms. The material you require from your local nursery include a good eucalypt wood chip. Never ever use pine chip, as pine chip has a negative effect on your garden bed. A good quality potting mix, a bag of cow manure, worms love cow manure, a bag of organic compost. To begin, introduce a eucalypt wood chip to the bottom of the bed up to about here, making sure that the geotech material is properly in place. Now we add 2 bags of potting mix. And now a bag of quality cow manure. Why are we adding cow manure? Because worms love cow manure. Yum, yum. And now we simply introduce a box of worms into one end of the garden bed here. You simply lift the worms out of the box, put the entire contents of the bag into the hole, just like that. There's no need to spread them around, just leave them in this end, like this. We then add 2 more bags of potting mix, straight on top of the worms and over the top of the cow manure. It's also very important to make sure that you don't compress this, don't press down on it and compress it. Over the next 2 or 3 weeks it'll settle anyway and, settle down a bit naturally. And lastly, we finish the bed with organic compost. The organic spring veggie patch is now full of potting mix, mulch, worms, poo and a whole stack of fun. So what I've done, I've started off with strawberries over here on the right hand side, parsley, then basil, chives, carrots, broccoli, some lettuce. These are miniature lettuces by the way, spinach, celery, silver beet and radish. So now I'm going to introduce them into the soil. The hole we have to create has to take this entire base. And there we have our strawberries. It's important to get the worms to move from one end of the garden bed to the other. And how we do that is by feeding the garden bed at opposite ends. So this week, because we've put the worms in the other end of the garden bed, we're going to start feeding at this end of the garden bed. So I've actually dug a hole here, a fist-size hole. And this vegetable matter that I have here in my right hand, I'm now going to add to the soil here at the end, and then just cover it up like that. And that's all we have to do. We do that every few days, about every 4 or 5 days, and then the worms will then move from one food source to the other, from end to end. And what they do is they'll aerate the soil, condition the soil and fertilise the soil as they move through the soil. So here you have it, 11 kinds of veggies, fruits and herbs, all in one organic spring veggie patch. This is where we put the worms. I'm leaving this space bare so that we can come back here next week and feed the worms again after they've travelled to the other end. The only thing left to do now is to close the lid and apply a little moisture. I'll be back in a couple of weeks to see how things are progressing. We'll shoot a bit more footage and we'll share it with you then.